The time-space continuum doesn't stop for no man or woman, and so yet again here we are with another instalment of BikeRadar's Tech of the Month, our collection of some of the fanciest, hottest and/or most interesting pieces of tech to land in our assorted remote HQs over the past month. In this episode, look out for a few innovative bits of bike packing tech from our red-headed video manager Felix, as well as a Canyon Grizl, the hottest gravel bike in town. My colleague Matthew Loveridge has been the lucky young man who's got his paws on this bike. You may have already seen his video review, but if not, catch that after you've caught this. A link is in the video description. Oh, and if you want an even deeper dive into the Grizl and why Matthew awarded it 5 coveted golden BikeRadar stars in his review, head to the BikeRadar podcast. Yes, if you didn't know you could get even more BikeRadar piped directly to you, pop to iTunes, Spotify and a host of other pod providers and have a search for it. To make your life easier, we've added a couple more links in the description. Right, now I've done the intro, it's time for the bit you've all been waiting for. Yes, it's time to remind you that once you've enjoyed this video, hit that thumbs up button, drop us a comment down below, I'm sure our colleagues will give you something to talk about. And if you're not a subscriber, you're missing out. Hit the subscribe and click the bell icon so you get a notification when we upload a brand new video. Right, where are we heading first? Well, let's spin the spinner I hastily constructed before filming this piece. It's Matthew, it's Mr. Loveridge with his Grizl. Let's head over to the Forest of Dean to get the lowdown on that bike.
Thanks Tom, and now for something very exciting. This is the brand new Canyon Grizl gravel bike. It's a full carbon gravel bike and it has normal handlebars, no more biplane bars, which were made famous by the Grail, but many people found them a little bit off-putting. Come over here Max and let's look at some details on this bike. So, key selling points of this bike are that it has very large tyre clearances. That's a 45mm tyre, but you can fit 50s in there if you want to. Also, it's covered in mounts, so all your fashionable bike packing Instagram gravel needs are catered for. 3 mounts on the fork there on each side. Those can take 3 kilos either side, so you can put cargo cages and carry all sorts of crap, whatever that happens to be. Let's look at some more mounts. There are bosses on top of the top tube for a top tube bag. There are mounts for 3 sets of bottle cages or other accessories, 2 inside the frame, 1 underneath the down tube, and very importantly, particularly for UK riding, there are mounts for full Canyon mud guards down here and at the front. This model is the Grizl CF SL8 1x, and as the name implies, it's got a 1x drivetrain. It's full Shimano GRX RX810, so that's Ultegra level stuff, and that gets you a 42 chainring at the front, 11 to 42 at the back. The wheels are very, very gravel friendly DT Swiss aluminium clinchers with a 24mm inner width, so that's really good match for the wide tyres that this bike is designed for. A final spec detail that's worth pointing out is that Canyon has put on this bike the Leaf Spring VCLS seat post, which is a 2-part post, so it has loads and loads of flex, and that's there to add much needed comfort off-road. The Grizl's a bike I am very, very excited about. It comes in some really cool paint jobs. This specific model costs £2,949 or $2,849 US. We've got a full video review. Make sure you click up here to watch it or get the link in the description. Back to the studio.
Thank you Matthew, let's see where we're going next. Can't go to Matthew 3 times. It's Felix. Okay, next up, it's Felix.
Thanks Tom, I'm back from being on holiday this week and I'm going to talk to you about this very exciting helmet. What makes this so special? Well, it's the first self-powered cycling helmet. And when I say self-powered, I mean this rear light is powered by something very special. This is the Pocke Omne Eternal Helmet, and it is, on the face of it, very similar to the Omni helmet, and it's powered by Powerfoil technology. which is basically a flexible solar panel here on the top, and it's been co-designed with XC, who are the people behind this very special technology. Okay, so we've been using solar panels for years and years. You might have seen them on calculators when you're at school, for example. But what makes this very different is that it can actually charge using any light source. So that doesn't mean it has to be charged by sunlight. It can actually be charged by fluorescent lights in your house. This means that the helmet never really stops charging unless it's in total darkness. So this should mean that the helmet increases your safety out on the road by being more visible, but it also means that you don't have to worry about charging, you don't have to worry about cables, and you don't even have to worry about turning it on and off. And that's because it has a sensor that when you put the helmet on, the rear light automatically turns itself on. Then when you take the helmet off, it turns off, so it saves you power. Now you might think that is totally unnecessary for a bike helmet, but for someone that enjoys a really clean design and adding safety to your ride is never a bad thing. It's definitely pushing my buttons. I'm going to demonstrate the light now, so Robin, hit those lights. Okay, it might not be super bright, but used as a secondary light with your main rear light on the bike should help you be seen just that little bit better. Something else that I really like about the light is that it's not a super fast flash, it's more of a steady, slower one, which is sometimes nicer for the rider behind you if you're not going to get blinded. So how long will the battery last? Something that a lot of you are probably going to ask. So I went to Pocke and asked them a little bit more details about the battery. Pocke basically confirmed that the light will never run out, based on the fact that it gets a small amount of light every day. But say if you were planning a really long night ride, maybe 10 hours of total darkness, that's about the maximum that you can expect to have from the light. And then on your epic ride, as soon as the sun comes up, it will start charging and continue basically forever. However, this technology does require you to have it in some form of light for at least an hour every day to keep the battery in optimal condition. But that shouldn't be a problem unless you're living in a cave somewhere. Maybe you are, but for most of us, it shouldn't be a problem. Like I said earlier, the Pocke Omne Eternal Helmet is basically a copy of the Omni model. So it has 10 vents on it. Those vents also include what Pocke call an eye garage, which is essentially 2 vents here at the front which hold your glasses. So a nice clean design and good looks sort of hides all this technology pretty well. It also doesn't particularly weigh any extra compared to a standard helmet. Now, as you might expect, the helmet isn't cheap, but when you consider this is a truly innovative bit of kit and the fact that it should increase your safety, I think that's probably not too bad considering the price of other helmets out there. Now, at the time of filming, I don't have any international pricing. Apart from euros, it comes in at 250 euros and it's available from June. So that's it on the Pocke Omni Eternal. But what do you think about the technology? Do you think it could be used anywhere else on the bike? Let me know what you think in the comments.
Thank you, Felix. I hope you enjoy sleeping in your ditches. Okay, so it's me now, and here is the latest set of wheels from Zipp, the AM30 Motos. So while Zipp is a big name in road bike wheels, their range of mountain bike coupes is steadily being updated. And this set is fairly innovative, and it's been updated with a new hub, but the original Moto 3 wheel did come out about a year and a bit ago. Normal rims use a kind of box section whereby there's a rim bed and then a loop of material over the top into which the spokes attach. Zipp have gone down the road of making a single wall rim, so in cross section it's kind of just one continuous sheet of carbon. The spokes come out of the inside and the tyre hooks into the outside. So what's the point in that? Well, it's all about compliance. There's quite a bit of talk when it comes to wheels about how compliant they are, and this is usually referred to in the vertical sense. Now, I'm not a physicist, you'll be surprised to hear, so I'm not really qualified to talk about whether a wheel vertically compresses. However, when it comes to wheel comfort and ground tracking, I think more and more people are talking about how the rim is able to flex or twist side to side. Zipp says that these wheels are more able to locally twist when a rock is rolled over. They call this ankle compliance, kind of like how a runner is able to lean while the foot stays flat on the floor while going around a tight corner. That's their analogy anyway. By flexing like this, the rim is more able to stay parallel to the ground, according to Zipp, which means more grip and less being pinged offline. Again, apparently. The rim is built with their uni-stitch carbon weave, which is impact resistant apparently, and it's asymmetrical in design. It's 30mm wide internally and 37.5mm wide externally. In the middle of the wheels, we've got the ZM2 hubs. As you'd expect from Zipp, who are part of the SRAM family, we've got an XD driver on there and a 6-bolt attachment for your discs. They also do one which they say is SRAM Shimano MTB, by which I'm assuming it's the HG rather than microspline free hub. The hub has 12 pulls, giving 132 points of engagement, so just under 3 degrees of engagement angle, if my maths is correct. As you would expect, these wheels are compatible with Zipp's TyreWiz, which is a wireless system that measures tyre pressures and gives setup help, as well as alarms to tell you whether your tyre is going flat, if you haven't already noticed. So how much do these hoops cost? In the UK, you're looking at $780 for the front and $865 for the rear. In the US, it's $850 or $950, and in Europe, they're €870 for the front and €970 for the rear. Next up, from my rummage around the office, is this set of rather wide gravel bars. The PNW The Coast handlebar is an astonishingly wide at 520mm, though a comparatively slimline 480mm version is available. My colleague Simon Bromley would not approve. PNW hail from, you guessed it, the Pacific Northwest, and make a lot of fairly rad mountain bike components, so their entry into the gravel market is rather radical and it's not much of a surprise. On mountain bikes, 800mm wide bars are now ubiquitous, with their wider stance boosting control and confidence. So PNW reckon the same must be true for gravel. The bars have a fairly shallow drop, which should make it easy to shift from the hoods to the drops without feeling like you're going to fall off the front of the bike, and puts you in a slightly more comfortable or less aggressive position when down on the gravel drops. So how does this work with your cockpit setup? If your arms are further apart, logically your weight is going to be spread wider and your arms at more of an angle. So as such, PNW say that the bars should be paired with a shorter stem. For every 20mm wider these bars are than your stock setup, they recommend chopping, figuratively, not literally, 10mm off your stem. And so for the geometry geeks amongst you, I'll quickly rattle off some numbers. Hood to hood, these come in at 520mm. From drop to drop, it's 604mm thanks to a 20-degree flare, and those drops are 105mm deep. Their reach is 65mm forward. In the UK, they're £49 and 29 pence. They'll set you back €57 and 30 cents in the continent, and our North American friends will pay $69 or 84 Canadian dollars and 25 cents. Right, well, I hope you've enjoyed this month's Tech of the Month. I know I certainly have. If you've got any questions, let us know in the comments. And you guys know the score by now. Like the video, subscribe to the channel and tickle the bell button so you never miss a show.